In a war of satellites, drones, and smart bombs, an old Soviet pistol, built nearly a century ago, is still being fired. Why is a weapon designed under Stalin's rule making a comeback in Europe's bloodiest conflict? This is the story of the TT-33 Tokarev, a pistol forged in steel, carried through decades, and now, back in battle. Hi guys, welcome back to Weapons Archive, where we deep dive into weapons of the past and their history. If you like the content, please remember to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe for regular updates and videos about weapons of the past. But to understand how it survived this long, you have to go back to where it all began, inside Stalin's Soviet Union. It was here that the Red Army demanded a new sidearm, something powerful, reliable, and easy to mass produce. And so, the TT-33 was born. Its full name? The Tula Tokarev, model of 1933. Developed by Fedor Tokarev, it fired a blistering 7.62 by 25 millimeter round, fast enough to pierce early body armor. It was slim, rugged, and easy to field strip. More importantly, it was built for war, and it saw plenty of it. Soviet troops carried it through World War II, into Berlin, across Korea, and deep into Vietnam. The TT-33 became a symbol of Cold War resistance, copied by China, North Korea, and other Soviet allies. But if it fought across so many wars already, why is it making yet another stand in Ukraine? Well, when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Ukraine found itself desperately short of modern weapons. Western support would come, but it would take time. So the government opened its old armories, and out came the past. Alongside Mosin-Nagant bolt actions and dusty PK machine guns, the TT-33 was pulled from crates long thought forgotten. Not because it was ideal, but because it still worked. In a war ruled by drones and smart bombs, what chance did an 80-year-old pistol really have? The Territorial Defense Forces, mostly volunteers, many of them civilians only weeks before, were handed these weapons with a crash course in survival. For many, the TT-33 was the first firearm they'd ever held. Some were shocked by its age. Others were surprised by its bite. And while it was never designed for trench warfare in the drone age, it became a tool of grit and desperation. The pistol's high-velocity round, despite its age, still delivered deadly force. At close range, inside buildings, near checkpoints, and along narrow city streets, it did the job. But there's something deeply ironic here. A pistol designed to fight for the Soviet Union is now being used to defend Ukraine against the Soviet Union's successor. But that irony doesn't dull its utility. In fact, it makes it all the more symbolic. In a war filled with high-tech artillery and billion-dollar aid packages, the TT-33 represents the part of the war that's more personal, more primal. It's not sleek or smart. It's steel and fire. It's history in your hand. And sometimes, when bullets are flying and drones are buzzing overhead, raw firepower beats fancy tech. Today, you can still find footage of Ukrainian fighters holstering the TT-33. Some carry it because it's all they have. Others carry it as a tribute. And for a few, it's a silent rebellion, fighting Russia with a weapon made in Russia, long before Ukraine ever dreamed of independence. But what truly makes this pistol fascinating is how it survives, not just physically, but symbolically. Think about it. There are pistols built in the 21st century with polymer frames, optics-ready slides, and modular grip systems. But in a muddy trench or a half-collapsed apartment block, a Ukrainian soldier is still trusting a sidearm designed in the age of Stalin. Why? Because the TT-33 has proven over and over that it works. It doesn't jam easily, it doesn't corrode quickly, and when it breaks, it's usually repairable with hand tools. For a country fighting an existential war, those qualities matter more than elegance. But if this pistol still holds relevance in modern combat, what does that say about the world we're fighting in? Maybe it says that reliability still matters more than innovation, that history can be more durable than plastic, that when everything collapses, when you've run out of drones, ammunition, even hope, you turn to what's left. And for many fighters on the ground in Ukraine, what's left is the TT-33. The first thing they notice is its weight. Fully loaded, the Tokarev isn't light. It's not bloated either. just solid. You feel the steel in your hand. It's a fist with a barrel, and that weight carries confidence. Some Ukrainian fighters, especially those in the territorial defense forces, say the Tokarev feels like it means business. It doesn't wobble. It doesn't flex. It plants itself in your palm like it's been there for generations, because for some, it has, and the pistol fires consistently. Even after decades in storage, many TT-33s retrieved from Ukrainian armories in 2022 and 2023 were operational with minimal maintenance. That's because the Soviets overbuilt their weapons for extreme conditions. The bluing held up, the springs retained tension. Field stripping it, removing the slide, recoil spring, barrel is so simple it's almost agricultural. A screwdriver and clean cloth are usually all you need to get it battle ready. But it's not all nostalgia. The TT-33 has real tactical value. Its narrow profile makes it easy to conceal, even under winter gear. Its lack of external safety, once considered dangerous, is now appreciated in the right hands. There's no fumbling in high-stress situations. Draw, cock, fire, no buttons, no hesitation. Then there's the firepower. That 7.62 by 25 millimeter cartridge isn't just fast, it's flat shooting. It hits hard, with minimal bullet drop across pistol engagement ranges. In urban combat, where most firefights occur within 25 meters, the round's penetration is a clear advantage. Reports from Ukrainian cities like Severodonetsk and Bakhmut describe the TT-33 being used at close range, especially during building sweeps and checkpoint encounters. Against unarmored targets, it's devastating. There are even instances, though rare, of TT-33s being used to stop Russian drones at very close range. One territorial defense fighter allegedly used his Tokarev to shoot down a small reconnaissance drone hovering a few meters above a rooftop in eastern Ukraine. Was it luck? Probably. But it says something about what this pistol can still do in the right hands. Still, it's far from perfect. The Tokarev's single-action trigger is crisp but unforgiving. It requires the hammer to be cocked for each first shot, which means you either carry it cocked and locked, a risk with no external safety, or cock manually before firing. For modern shooters used to double-action or striker-fired pistols, this can feel archaic. The magazine release is also old school. It's a heel-release design on some variants, requiring you to use your non-dominant hand to remove the magazine manually. There's no spring-assisted ejection. Reloading under fire? Slow and clumsy compared to modern standards. But even legends have their flaws, and in today's warfare, the TT-33's age shows in brutal ways. And despite these drawbacks, it's still here. Not in every unit, not in every city, but in just enough places to matter. It's been spotted in YouTube footage, captured in the background of interviews, photographed in a worn leather holster on the hip of a commander giving a press statement. It's never front and center, but it's always watching. And perhaps that's the Tokarev's greatest legacy. It endures by being unremarkable. No rail system, no optics, no tactical aftermarket mods. Just blued steel, a hammer, and one of the fastest pistol rounds ever standardized. It doesn't evolve. It doesn't need to. And for Ukrainian fighters who pick one up today, it offers something rare, a direct line to history. You're not just holding a weapon, you're holding the ghost of the Eastern Front, the shadow of Cold War revolutions, the echo of partisan raids in the Carpathians. It's a pistol that's been fired in almost every major Soviet conflict, and now it's firing again in defense of a country the Soviets once claimed as their own. But in the face of modern warfare, Western aid and NATO-grade firepower, how long can a pistol like this really survive? Long enough to matter. Because survival doesn't always mean dominating the battlefield. Sometimes it just means showing up, being ready, working when nothing else will. That's the quiet power of the TT-33. It may not be a frontline weapon anymore, but it has outlived the regime that built it, the generation that wielded it, and the doctrines that once glorified it. It's still here because it never relied on relevance to justify its existence. And in today's Ukraine, that quiet presence has taken on a deeper meaning, far beyond its steel and ballistics. When a young Ukrainian volunteer carries a TT-33 into battle today, they aren't just carrying a sidearm, they're carrying a contradiction, a Soviet weapon in defense of a nation born out of the Soviet collapse, a weapon that once enforced occupation, now used in the fight for independence. That reversal is not lost on anyone. Some say that's what gives it power, not just its steel, but its story. In poems, it's sometimes referenced as the Old Fist. In protest murals and stencil graffiti, especially in cities like Lviv, you'll see silhouettes of the TT-33 beneath slogans like, "We don't forget," or "Steel remembers." It's not glorified the way the AK-47 is in other cultures. It's too quiet for that, too modest, but it's present and respected. And maybe that's the strange truth about the TT-33. It was never meant to last this long. It was never meant to become legend. But the TT-33's story doesn't end in folklore or on the front lines. It continues in markets the public rarely sees, in military scrapyards, smuggler routes, and forgotten storage depots. Despite being officially retired by nearly every military on Earth, the TT-33 never disappeared. It slipped into another life, a quieter one, a black market icon. In parts of Eastern Europe, it's still traded like a bottle of vintage wine. Collectors covet the 1941 Tula factory models. Police seizures in conflict zones, Libya, Syria, and yes, even parts of Africa, still turn up Tokarevs, often alongside AK-47s and RPGs. These pistols aren't always in working order, but the fact that they're still found at all says everything. You can't kill a weapon built to outlive its maker. And in Ukraine, the TT-33 has found its third life. There are underground gunsmiths, some in Kharkiv, others near Dnipro, who've become experts in refurbishing old Tokarevs. They clean them, re-blue them, replace worn springs and cracked grips. Some even customize them, engraving Ukrainian tridents on the slide or welding on new hammer spurs. It's not modernization, it's resurrection. These restored TT-33s aren't always used in combat. Some are carried by officers as backup. Others are kept in personal collections or hung over fireplaces like heirlooms. A few are buried with veterans, given a soldier's farewell. And yet, even among modern arms, the Tokarev still demands respect. In a war defined by cutting-edge surveillance, precision munitions, and satellite uplinks, the Tokarev is a reminder that war always returns to its roots: man, machine, and will. It's easy to romanticize it, to turn its presence into poetry. But make no mistake, when the Tokarev speaks, it speaks with the voice of someone who intends to survive. And that's what Ukraine has become: a nation built on survival, on persistence, on steel. And what better symbol for that than the TT-33? Because when survival is all that matters, sometimes the oldest weapons are the ones that never let you down. So the next time you see grainy footage of a Ukrainian soldier sprinting through the ruins of a shelled-out village, and you catch a glimpse of that flat steel profile tucked into their belt, ask yourself one thing: what other ghosts of war are still out there, quiet, waiting, and ready to fire again? If this story resonated with you, leave a like, hit subscribe, and let us know in the comments which forgotten weapon deserves to be remembered next.